here's the kind of the beautiful fun part, is that now I have two surfaces. I have my existing ground surface, which covers the entire project, and I have this subgrade surface, which is just inside this subgrade shaded area green. And I can compute a volume between the two of them, and Traverse PC is smart enough to say, oh, this smaller surface exists within the bigger surface, so it's going to compute all of the necessary intersections of triangles. And in fact, it creates prismoids that are triangles top to bottom, but they've got their own angles to the surface, in this case, between the existing surface at one end and the subgrade surface at the other end. So I just call those a prismoid. And Traverse PC can sometimes compute thousands and thousands of those to exactly pick up every piece between those two surfaces. Of course, you don't see all that as a user. You just come over here, you double click this to bring up the surface. You go to volumes, and this is what you say. You say, I want to compute a volume from the existing surface, which I've called 61417 imported, to the surface, which is the subgrade. And I want to shade those polygons in there. Okay, and I'm going to turn off this traverse here so we can see how those get added. Just like I did for the slope analysis, I'm going to say if it's a cut, shade it yellow. If it's a fill, shade it blue. If it's the same, I'm not making any changes, just use it light grade. Okay, and I want to shade those in the volumes in the drawing. So let's compute that. Okay, so Traverse PC says, and I'm not going to zoom in here, but I've got a net 278 cubic yards. So I've got 333 cubic yards of cut, 55 cubic yards of fill, and when I apply it, Traverse PC is going to add those to the drawing for me. And I had to hit OK to actually get those there. Now, the other thing I'm going to do real quick is that I've got a report view that Traverse PC is keeping for me, and I use this kind of for chicken tracks. Okay, so I'm going to go back into that surface just by double-clicking it, and I already computed this. Oh, I got to go to the surface, subgrade, compute. There's my yardage. I'm going to add a summary. Okay, so the summary now takes that same information and puts it in a report view. So now I've got all my volumes and areas and everything listed here. And I know that I've got about 27 dump trucks of sand left over when we're done. Now I can change the design a little bit. I can raise that east end and waste some material doing that. And maybe I can get it down to 150 cubic yards. Okay, so 15 dump trucks. Now the church has another project where they might be able to use that sand. So I'm going to see if we can just sort of keep that on site and ask Gary to do a little more cat work for the project. But this is all I wanted this for. I just wanted to come in and get a volume here so I knew what kind of excavation we were looking at. And then Gary knows this, but he's going to have a little fill up here. Most of it's going to be cut. And then we're going to waste down here to get the grade that we want, fill this. And then we're going to have some stuff left over. And eventually I'll just turn off that original stuff and away we go.